Hang on, the phone is ringing. Let me check, see what that's all about.
Okay.
Paper. When you sign in, they'll see that. It's not gonna make any difference anyway, because the only thing we're voting on is the trustees, and there's no competition. Yeah, when you come there, there's a little sign-in sheet. And you just sign in, and I mean, the guy, what's his name, Andrew Belanger, is that his name? He knows who everybody is. He can recognize it. He'll recognize you. Showing a person some problem. Okay, enjoy. That was one of my neighbors checking about the annual meeting for the condo association.
Well, just for the record, your mic was not on mute. So if you want me to chop off all that audio, I can do
Don't
that.
worry about it. It was
Yeah,
nothing.
it didn't sound personal. It didn't sound like anything.
No, as my neighbor
Personal.
simply said, wanted to know about um, whether you can use the proxy or show up in person, and what if you did both? And I just told her, don't worry about it. They know how to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anything happened in the last 24 hours? 22 hours?
Well, things happen, but not in my life. Although one thing did happen, I didn't mention it yesterday. I have some online correspondents that I've worked with for years. Um, and the one that was most closely associated with, her brother told me that she had died last Wednesday, I think it was. That was completely unexpected because I had no idea that she was nearing the end. I noticed that she had been scarce on the social networks. I last saw her on social networks in August. Didn't see her at
Wait,
all.
this isn't Anne Marie, is it?
No, not Anne. Anne Marie was not. She's in Canada. This is Nancy, who's in Utah, the one who taught journalism. I don't know if I mentioned her very much on this
I think you
call.
have, but not in any detail.
But back in the 90s and early 2000s, we worked very closely on online journalism and micronews and that kind of stuff. And, she's only a couple of years. She was a couple of years younger than me. I think maybe a year or two younger than me.
Hmm.
We collaborated very closely for, about 15 years. And then, her brother said, she sailed over the horizon and no further information. So I was kind of sad about that.
Yes, sorry to hear that.
Hi, Eric.
Welcome,
Hi.
Eric.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, to save you some grief, we won't repeat the ranting that we did yesterday.
I appreciate that. That was
It's on. Is it on video? I can watch it whenever.
It's not posted yet, but yes, it is on video.
It will be
posted.
out there. Okay.
skip
That's
it
right.
unless you like uh, melodrama or dark
Yeah.
drama, whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Sometimes, like if I have insomnia, I'll put on one of your old recordings.
And that puts you right to sleep, I know.
I turned off my camera and mic and walked away for about 5 minutes.
Yep.
I just didn't want to sit through that.
Yep.
So anyway, per Kayla, she suggested we do something different today. So unless you guys have a topic, I was suggesting another game that we play.
I'm up for it.
I'll ask maybe 4 questions, 4 rounds. We'll see if we have time for it. Barry, anything on your mind?
Just how am I going to get out of despondency, despair, and depression?
Okay, let's do that as the first question.
I have
Okay.
no idea how to do
What
that.
are we each gonna do to get ourselves out of despair and despondency? I was actually gonna phrase the question differently. Okay, I was gonna say, what are you gonna do to make yourself happy today or this week? Today or this week. But let's put it in terms of pull yourself out of despair and despondency. That's another way to ask the question. And then I have a series of follow-up questions on that one as well. So if you'd like to go, since you've been ruminating on it for at least 22 hours, you're welcome to go, Barry.
Well, there's really only a couple things that I do that will take my mind off of reality, and that's to do fix-it jobs. And I did one for my neighbor over the weekend. She had an iMac that she hadn't updated for 5 years, and it was getting wonky. So I updated it for her. That took a good part of Friday and Saturday. And then I've got a couple of machines here that needed a little bit of attention. So I basically distract myself with fix-it jobs so that I can take my mind off of reality and do something constructive, even though the fix-it jobs around here are not that, I'm not really fixing anything that's very critical, sort of, secondary, tertiary systems that just don't happen to work. And so,
yeah, but still, it's a nice little hit of dopamine when something works when it previously didn't.
yeah.
Right?
Although I no longer get such a strong endorphin high when I fix stuff. I used to get a big kick out of fixing things, and that's diminished. I still fix things, but I just don't get the kick out of it anymore.
Okay, thanks. Eric, does this sound like something you'd like to respond with?
Well, what
are
I
you gonna do to
did,
pull yourself out. Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
what I did on Friday, I went to a water aerobics class, and that was a big
Oh.
catharsis. Just
Oh.
jump because of the anti-gravity effect when you're like punching in the water or whatever you want to do in the water. Yeah.
That's
So,
cool. And was it water cold or was it
was warm.
heated?
Yeah, I mean, this is a large Olympic-sized pool it's filled up with people, and it was fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, anything exercise is very helpful to get your, whatever endorphins you need or, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll go then. I've been meaning to do this more regularly, but I will commit in front of you and the world that I will do Tai Chi today, since that is something that I haven't been very regular with. And I'm also going to take the 3 puppies for a walk. There's a 1.5-mile loop and there's a 2-mile loop. I think I'll do the 2-mile loop today. So at least those 2 things I'm going to do today to pull myself out of despair and despondency.
So do the dogs sense it? Like a change in your attitude or?
They get kind of concerned if any human is like moping or feeling sad. They can tell. They are very, very aware of that. Then they'll try and lick you. They'll try and lay on top of you. They'll try and sidle up to you. If you're doing something, they'll sleep right at your feet. Yeah, these dogs are very, very supportive that way.
That's great.
Yeah, it's not an accident that several of these puppies have been trained, not these ones that I've got, but some from their litter have been trained to become what does it call it? There's a special word for dogs that help people that need it. Service dogs. They become service dogs, and then they can easily also be certified as emotional support animals.
Wow.
So that's what they be. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I had a dog a while ago. I know the feeling.
Yeah. Hey, Barry, do you like dogs?
I like golden retrievers. I've always gotten along with golden retrievers, even ones that are strangers come up to me like it's old home week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Goldens are perfect. I'm very biased, of course. All right. I have a second question then. If you have loved ones, what are you going to do today or this week to pull your loved ones out of despair and despondence? Harder, huh?
Well, I mean, the only person left alive that I have any connection with, other than people here on this system, is Anne Marie, and she's dealing with all kinds of issues that I just can't help her with. They're beyond her ken, they're beyond my ken, they're beyond anybody's ken, and things that I could do if I were there, but I'm not there. So.
So I'll be seeing my parents the week before Thanksgiving, and my mom doesn't have much time left. So I'm preparing for that inevitability. I mean, they're doing okay. They got each other to complain to each other about every little thing, but I mean, for age 93, for them to be in their own home, it's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So they're both alive?
Yeah, they're both well, one's going to be 94. Yeah.
So are you the baby of the family?
Yeah, I'm the baby. My brother's 6 years older.
Yeah, because I'm the oldest, and my parents just turned 92 this year.
Mm-hmm.
So for your parents to be older, and you're much younger than me, I thought, yeah, you got to be the youngest.
Yeah, they started, well, they had a bit of trouble getting my brother out first and then me. So they take, infertility is a Jewish thing. Yeah.
So there's just the two of you?
Yeah, just the two of us.
Yeah, so you, like I, didn't grow up with sisters then?
No sisters.
Yeah,
Same
me
here.
neither.
I have one
Oh,
brother.
really? All three of us?
Yeah, my brother's
Wow,
just a
is that
year
a
older.
coincidence or not?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but
it's genetics.
And the thing is that I'm not estranged from my brother, but we're not terribly close. I mean, he calls me once a month to say hello, but I mean, we're very different personalities and don't have a whole lot in common.
Well, that's more frequently than my brother calls me. He calls me like once a year or two.
I mean, my
And it's
brother will
usually
call
about my
me
parents.
if he's driving and he's got Bluetooth in his car. He'll call me when he's driving, but that's typically, between his house and some other place that he's going in 5 or 10 more minutes. So it's a
Wait,
short,
is he older or younger?
just a year older. He's a lot more active though. I mean, he still goes to Florida once in a while because we inherited our aunt's condo down there, so he goes down there once.
Okay.
Just to continue, I was talking to a university professor on Friday, and the kids are having a tough time with all this. You could see on the news, they're canceling classes and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we were talking, and they have to learn that no matter who's in the White House, life goes on, and you keep trying for better in the future. But these things happen.
Problem is, at our age, we've spent our whole life trying to improve things for the future, and now basically our clock is running out for and time and energy to try to make things better for, our grandchildren's generation. But I think basically I was saying to Maxwell yesterday that he says, your parents' generation and your grandparents' generation have blown it. Now it's up to you, Maxwell, and your generation. See if you can figure it out, because we blew it.
I'm relating this to the Foundation series. Okay, psychohistory. You're gonna have
I was
1,000 years.
asking.
Yeah.
That's right. The Dark Ages were 400 years plus, right? And this time, yeah, I mean, we see ourselves falling into that pit of despair, and we each feel so ineffective because there's just too much dogma, too much rampant stupidity, too much behind the scenes control with people with power. So, sorry, it's beginning to sound more like yesterday. Okay, let me stop
Right,
that.
but you see how the Constitution designed it. You have a person max 2 terms, and then you get another idiot in office. So, yeah, the question is, how do you get non-idiots in office?
Yeah, but there were supposed to be checks and balances, and that's been effectively uh, gotten around. What do you? There's a better
The
word for
Constitution's
that.
been hollowed out, basically.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's going to get hollowed out even more in the next 4 years.
Oh yeah, the whole system, the whole government systems has been undergoing a hollowing out for probably the last 40 years since Reagan.
But would you say the original intent was a valid system if
It was
we
the
had,
best they could come up with,
yeah,
300 years ago, but they didn't
Yeah.
know. First of all, they didn't have the experience of what happened, the outcomes, and they didn't have the mathematical analyses that we have today. And still, if you tell people that rule-based systems tend to be mathematically chaotic, most people had no clue that rule-based systems tend to be mathematically chaotic.
yeah, but what they had was thousands of years of history in Europe to draw on.
Yep.
All which
With churches and
reveal examples
monarchies.
of chaotic.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
chaotic.
they did something better, but
Mhm.
clearly now we need something better again.
Yeah, so do you program this into Datomic or what? Fiddle the rule? I don't know how you do this.
I already posted it on Blogger, multiple dozens of times. I posted different versions of whose was that?
There's another person.
Okay. That's a
Spam.
laptop. That's a laptop in the kitchen that I'm upgrading.
Oh, hey, Kayla.
Kayla.
Hey, I have a friend who's going to come in.
Okay.
Her name is Addy Garcia. It says that the login keeps giving her like the waiting room, I guess.
Oh, really? Let
Yeah.
me go there right now because I'm actually lounging around on my couch, so I'm not on the
Okay.
machine that's actually where I'm host. So let me go back to that machine.
Turned on the waiting room in here. I didn't realize that.
Hold on.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
if we had the actual link that they could just, you all seem to come in directly. So let me,
We just had to enter the password and it got us right in.
yeah. So let me see. I don't see anybody in the waiting room.
I guess she might have, she said she'd been trying since 8:10.
Sorry.
Let's
If
see.
you let her know
see.
now, I'm ready to immediately
Okay.
let her in.
They said go in now.
Yes.
Okay, cool. It keeps giving me the waiting. I've been trying since 8:10. Okay.
Let me see her if she pops up.
It could be popping up from an actual phone or it says user.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter. I should see somebody waiting.
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, see, I still don't see anybody waiting.
Okay, so it's duck farm. Just like that.
Anybody remember the waiting place from Dr. Seuss? Oh, the places you'll go.
Yes, I
You
do.
remember that? Yes, the waiting place.
Yes.
Everybody waiting.
By the way,
Okay.
since you mentioned, oh, is she there now? No, I don't see her.
No,
yet.
I'm just talking to myself.
Okay.
I gave her the password and I gave her the, criteria around the password, capital, D, capital F, no space.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Okay, I'm here waiting to let her in immediately and give her my
okay.
apologies.
Sam is
But until she
waiting.
arrives, Eric, I was saying Seuss, of course, is someone I have to be familiar with because my name is Sam. Okay. And I only this year, believe it or not, came across a source of green eggs.
Yeah.
I always thought green eggs was actually something.
Nice.
But yeah, half the eggs we get from these chickens are green.
Wow.
They're nice and beautiful green.
May say a lot of
There's
brown
Addy.
ones.
There is Addy. I didn't have to do anything. She just came right in with a password. Okay,
Yay.
very good. All right. So, would you like to introduce your friend?
Yeah, her name is Addy. I don't know if she showed her face on camera. She's actually working right now, but she's gonna mostly listen. She was actually one of my first batch of dancers.
Ah,
Yeah, and we became friends. And she's from Mexico. She's younger than me. I think she's in her 30s or early 30s. And what else can I say about her? She's awesome. She watches my dogs from time to time. She works with horses, the elderly right now. And yeah, she's great. I hope she can unmute herself when she gets a chance and
okay.
participate. But if not, I told her, I said, you guys are cool with just listening because that's what I do.
Did you warn her that sometimes we rant a bit?
Yeah.
She did warn me about that, yes. And I was like, yes, I'm all for it.
Hey, just to let you know, I'm the guilty one. There may be others, but I at least am a guilty one.
She has said so many great things about you, Sam.
He
Oh,
denies
wait, hey,
everything.
hey, are the two of you actually the ones coming up to Seattle?
I
Or
wish she
what?
was coming with me, but I couldn't make up my mind. And so she's just watching my dogs. Oh
Yes.
yeah. No, Addie is the person that if I when I get your house, Sam, you know, Addie would come with me with her dog.
Yep, come on out for the real estate tour.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll
Actually,
chill
I have a
In fact,
those
question.
did you check out the property? I mean, it's already the old listing is still up on a number of the real estate sites. You know, go to Zillow, look up the address. You can actually see the property before I moved in.
Oh, did I send you that, or did I send
You
it to
did
my
send,
sister?
no, you did send me that, and I was like memorized about the beautiful property. Yes.
Yeah, that's where we're
All
gonna
right.
hide when
So
the
I know that
administration.
Kayla said you were working, but since you're speaking, I thought I'd take this opportunity. What was it that Kayla said that made you say, "Okay, great, I'll give this a shot"? What was it?
For this meeting? I
Yeah.
don't know. She just said one of the things, like I was telling her, I want to hear other people speak. I love listening, learning new things, get another perspective because I'm right now in my own little world. And she said I'm in my 30s and my little friend zone is not that expand. And I just want to actually learn different points of views. Yeah. And mostly I'm here to listen. I'm very shy. Not being in the spot. That's why there's no photo of me on camera.
Well, you
She
know,
doesn't
most of
like.
us here
I
also
was
like
gonna
to
say
listen. So yeah, go ahead, Kayla.
she doesn't like dumb people.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
We have to take an IQ test now.
That's right.
No, she loves.
Let's see. Man,
Yeah.
banana, hat. Oh, I couldn't remember the other two. I just failed.
Camera.
Okay, are there analogies on the IQ test, like the SAT?
What's an
'Cause-
analogy?
Well, actually, because I'm listening to something by Douglas Hofstadter, some talk he did, and
No,
he
you need
thinks that
brains for that.
analogies are the core of cognition is the title of that talk, and he goes through some funny examples. Which he has an art for that of
Yeah. No, he's awesome.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. But pattern recognition, which is I think underpinning the analogy aspect of it, is the basis of most reasoning. So we can go there if you want. We can expound on that.
what I've heard from that talk was that internally, these analogies, the concepts are in battle in our minds. Like there's never, we make our own associations as we're growing up, and we're not quite sure, and the things that get paired together, there's always a battle going on.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So you're still there. I thought you went on mute for a second.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you hear-
well, isn't that the basic idea that says you got to be able to entertain multiple ideas before you decide on one or decide that you want to try one? You know, because if
Yeah,
you can't
that's-
even hold two ideas, then you can't learn
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one funny story that, okay, so when he was growing up, his father taught him math, and he taught him the concept of exponents. And then one day, Doug looks and sees a number below a variable, and it's a subscript instead of a superscript. So he's wondering, hey, wow, what kind of powerful mathematical feature would a subscript do? And then he finds out from his dad, oh, it doesn't do anything. It's just like an index to a variable. And he's so disappointed in that. And then he puts that away for 40 years. And then he has a daughter, and the daughter's playing with the dustbuster. So that has the button that you push, which makes it go woo, and to suck up the dust. And there's another button that she eventually finds on her own, and she's wondering, wow, what could that button do? And then Doug shows her, oh, it just opens it up so you could empty out the dust. And she's so disappointed, and he's relating his experience 40 years ago of his father showing him subscripts to his daughter.
Hey, emptying out the dust is pretty damn important.
It is, but for a kid, it's not exciting. And that's going to scar her for the rest of her life. Oh no, I pushed the button and it didn't do what I wanted it to.
Wow, if that's the worst scar, you know, that's a pretty good life.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm migrating out to the outside here. You can see I'm just heading out here.
Yep. So our mind is just amazing, the way it actually works, just the kinds of things that it can put together and make sense out of, or make nonsense out of. All right, where we could pick up wherever we wanted to go.
Well, let me just explain. See, Kayla, since you were here yesterday, let me at least set the stage here. Yesterday, because it was the first time we met after the election results, we just, well, I at least decided to make it a catharsis day. So I ranted a bit, and I had a little tiff with Joshua, who is not here at the moment. So that's on record now. Oh, by the way, Addy, we record all of our sessions, okay? So the other people can laugh at me later on when they watch. So anyway, yesterday was a rant session, but today, per Kayla, she said, hey, let's get the ranting out of the way. Let's do something more constructive, okay? So I started today with a proposed game. And we did the first round of it. The round was, I'm going to ask a question and we're each going to answer the question. And the first question was, in Barry's words, what are you going to do today or this week to pull yourself out of despair and despondency? Okay, so that's the way Barry wanted to put it. So each of us went. Then we were in the middle of the second round when you guys landed here. So I just wanted to give you that context. The second question, which we were in the middle of answering, was, what are you going to do today or this week to pull your loved ones out of despair and despondency? There's an alternate way to ask the question if you like, which is, what are you going to do today or tomorrow to make yourself happy? Or what are you going to do to make your loved ones happy today or tomorrow? So that's where we were. We're 2 rounds in, and I said I had at least 4 rounds of questions, but we're in the second round. And so if you'd like to play along, you're welcome to. So anyway, we had just done that. Barry had gone. I think, Eric, you were in the middle of yours, I think, right?
Yeah, well, I'll just repeat what I said. I did a water aerobics class on Friday, and the exercise was great because I was able to punch in the water and just do double time on things. So any exercise helps a lot.
And Barry, if I might paraphrase, your answer to question number 1 was you like to fix things. So you fix the number of items, and it's probably something you're going to spend more time doing, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And then what I said I would do, I said two things. I have been not very regular with my Tai Chi, so I'm going to do Tai Chi today. And second thing is I have a 1.5-mile loop or a 2.0-mile loop that I often do with my dogs. I have 3 golden retrievers. So I'm going to do the 2-mile loop with my golden retrievers today. So those are the two things I said I would do today to make myself feel better, pull myself out of despair and despondency, basically.
And could you tell us the names of your dogs?
Let's see. The 8-year-old, her name is Hera. And then I've got 2 brothers and sisters. One is Helios and the other is Gaia. And both of them are from Hera's sister. Hera's sister's name is Tia. So Tia is the mom for Helios and Gaia. And they are both 5 now. So I've got an 8-year-old and 2 5-year-olds. And they're all between 75 and 85 pounds. So I got like over 200 pounds of dog that I sometimes have to wrestle with. It's therapeutic.
That's cool. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Interesting names too.
My daughter's the one that named.
Oh, your daughter named what?
Go ahead. Go ahead. You were about to make a good observation about the names.
I was going to make a comment. Do you know the origin of the Milky Way, the name Milky Way?
Probably not. I mean, I know some things about how, milk scattered, but
yeah, well, according to Carl
Sagan, but I forget who threw it.
Yeah, according to Carl Sagan, it was the milk from Hera that created the Milky Way.
Wait, in a bottle or from her actual?
From her nipple.
Body.
Well, from
her nipple, really?
Well, if she has a nipple, I don't know what gods have.
Well, she is a woman, right? Even the gods are, male and female, right?
Okay, well, apparently that's what Carl Sagan says the origin of the name is. So,
wow.
Yeah, but so you can imagine what the ancient people saw up in the sky. Hey, that looks like milk, and there must be a powerful woman up there. Well, I'm guessing what they thought.
I think the Dutch name for the Milky Way is Wintergatten. Not Winter Garden, but Wintergatten.
And is there a translation for that?
Milky Way.
Gatten means way?
I don't know. All I know is that there was a guy on YouTube whose music group was called Wintergatten, and turned out that means Milky Way. I didn't check out the etymology of it.
All right. So anyway, is this a game you would like to play? I'm asking Kayla and Addy. And if so, what are you going to do today or this week to make yourself feel better or pull yourself out of despair and despondency?
Yeah, I'll play. So I'm kind of out of despair and I call it despondent. Is it despondent or despondent?
You're allowed to make up new words as you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know this is gonna sound funny, but I'm excited to do my bills so that I could see how much money I have left to get a pedicure, which I will schedule this week. So that's gonna make me happy. I got 2 checks that came in yesterday, and they were good checks.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that's why I'm excited. I'm like, woo, money.
Nice. Addy, does this sound like something you'd like to participate in?
Yes, I actually would like to participate in this. And what I'm looking forward to do is going back to my gym.
All right.
Yes, I think I stopped for like 3 weeks because I got supposedly my priorities were not there, but I need to make my gym a little bit more a priority than just working.
And by gym, you mean a workout facility that's different from the dance studio, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm not doing dance because, like I said, I put everything else above my enjoyment or my hobby. And then Kayla decided to move to 20,000 miles away from me. So the drive is a little
Kayla,
too
how
much.
could you? How could you do
Right?
that to Addy?
I know. Damn it.
So I decided to do CrossFit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So
You
I need
stopped
to
me in
go
my
back.
tracks.
So I'm gonna start doing that again. I've actually been looking forward to start this Monday, tomorrow. So
Hmm.
yay.
I hope it goes well for you because 5 or 6 years ago, I gave CrossFit a shot and I didn't hold back. I was too enthusiastic and hurt my right arm. In my right
Oh,
arm, I couldn't actually, bend my elbow for several months. So don't
no.
go too hard, okay? Just take
Oh,
it
you know
easy.
what? I am very what is the word? Calm?
Oh, good.
That's not the word.
Controlled?
I
You can
take
say it.
everything very easy.
Okay, good.
Very
Good.
percent. Yeah, I'm very like if they actually want me to they push me too much and I'm like, nope, I need to know my limits so far, so I'm doing little by little.
Yeah.
I actually
I'm
been
the
doing
opposite.
CrossFit. Yeah, no. I hurt myself in boxing, so I learned. So I need to
That's good.
like I scaled down a little bit. So I started doing CrossFit for like 6 months now. I
Hmm.
stopped for a month because like I said, I put work before everything else,
Hmm.
and I need to go back on like want something that I really enjoy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm stupider. These guys told me, hey, go easy, and I was the one that pushed myself too hard. So I'm the opposite. Uh,
Has anyone done
I
kickboxing?
I
Anyone
used to
tried?
do Taekwondo, Eric.
Okay.
I did kickboxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love kickboxing.
I love kickboxing, boxing. I'm trying to do Muay Thai.
Muay Thai, yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, I like the violence in a control way.
Yeah, I had a class a while ago called Karate Boxing Aerobics. So it's the jabs, uppercuts, and roundhouse kicks. It's very good stuff.
Wasn't there something decades ago called Taibo, where some guy sold a bunch of videos and basically they were just like boxing moves, kicking moves, but it wasn't actually hitting anybody else. It was just on your own.
Oh my
Someone sold, I
God.
forget.
I remember
I forget who
that.
that was.
Tai
Yeah, see, it tells you how
Bo.
old I am. Tells you how old I am,
Wow. I
right?
haven't heard that in a long time.
Hey, see, that just popped right into my mind. It's full of useless things like that.
But
That's where
if
your
you gave
era, you're stuck in there.
if you just give everybody a punching bag or one of those dummies that pops back up, can people get through this?
Yeah.
That it actually does help. It really does.
Yeah.
But Kayla, you used to actually do Taekwondo, right? And you used to, or if not still, do capoeira, right?
I used to do capoeira. I never did taekwondo. Um,
Ah,
yeah, it was mostly capoeira and dance.
okay. Because
Yeah.
I did Taekwondo until I hurt my foot. Yeah, I got the brown belt, and then it just was. I was getting injured too often in what do they call it, sparring. So that's when I switched to Tai Chi. Yeah, I thought I'd show you something here because the flock is. Maybe I can't right now.
Now, I had a Tai Chi class a while ago, and
Oh,
yeah, it's so cute.
So I've got the chickens and the ducks. So, Kayla, here's another look at your property. By the way, there's a
exactly. I
little
was gonna
sitting
say,
area there.
look, Addy, there's our house.
See, there's a little sitting area with some outdoor furniture. I got the pads that can go in there, and then we got 5 chickens and 3 ducks, and that's the driveway out to the street. And then over there is the chicken coop, and otherwise, this is like an open 2 or 3 acres. And
Dude,
then
my
beyond the
dogs
trees,
will be so happy.
oh yeah, my dogs love running around out
Just
here chasing
running.
dogs.
Yeah,
And look, the
yeah.
sky is even partially blue today. It was raining yesterday. But since the chickens are right up close to me, I thought I'd show you the chickens right now and the ducks. There they are. I don't know all their names, but I mean, I know the names, but I don't know which one goes with which name.
Oh, they're your daughter's chickens, yeah.
Yes, yes. My daughter's friends' chickens, because
Aw.
her she had this black one named Pepper, and she was looking for a house or a place for Pepper because her parents, who are split up now, neither of them wanted a chicken around. I guess they had a bad experience. So she was looking for some place to put the chicken. And she knew that I had 19 ducks before, but no more because all the coyotes and other varmints around here got to them. So anyway, she asked if she could put the chicken over there, and I said fine. But then she brought over five so that Pepper wasn't lonely. And then she got three ducks also. So now I went from 0 to 8 of these.
So cute.
This light colored chicken is a male. This is a sugar. And then there's two chickens. These ones that look similar. They're ginger and garlic. And then that yellow chicken over there is honey. The black one is pepper. And then the three ducks, and I have no idea which is which, are soy, hoisin, and I forget the other one. But anyway, my daughter named them all after spices and flavors.
Duck sauce.
No, duck sauce.
Isn't hoisin duck sauce?
Ooh,
I don't know what shit. It's soy, hoisin. It's got to be another plum, maybe
Hoisin
plum.
duck
I don't know.
sauce.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm probably wrong on that one. But anyway, this is the weathered deck where I'm out here enjoying myself.
So
Okay, sorry about that digression. Sorry.
the question, what's the difference between a male chicken and a rooster? Is there a
As far
difference?
as I know, I don't know that there's any difference. Is
Okay.
there?
I don't know either. I'm asking because you said this is a male chicken.
Yeah, I was curious about that too.
See,
Isn't that
I'm not a
called
farmer. I
rooster?
don't even know the right words for all this. All I know is this guy is still young enough that we don't get waking up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning. He hasn't started doing that yet. We got him as a baby, and that was only several weeks ago.
Oh.
He's around a lot of females. He doesn't.
Maybe he doesn't need to crow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's my propane tank. Yeah. Other than electricity, I'm pretty much off the grid here. I have the
Well, you have cell service.
I do have cell service, and I also have Starlink. There's the Starlink dish, by the way, so it works well. And so I have a well here, which is over there somewhere. So I'm on my own well. We have propane. So electricity is really the only external infrastructure thing that I need. Of course, internet is necessary as well if I want to do any work. But if I didn't want to work, I wouldn't need the internet. I could just grow plants, vegetables, whatever. I'll find a spot here and then live off the grid.
Did you ever see how the Amish live? That they have a book called Living Without Electricity. Yeah.
Maybe I should get that as a reference.
Yeah. Well, they use the old oil lamps and yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but see, they're very picky about technology. They really evaluate, okay, what's this technology going to do to our community? So, and that different sects will have different ideas, but they're strict about letting new ideas in, and maybe we should learn something from them.
Yeah. Well, even oil lamps are a technology of a sort, so it's just a matter of where you draw the line.
Yeah, well, they're really looking at how their society functions, like what are their core values, and what is this technology going to do to the kids? It's going to get them away from their Bibles or what?
What I like about that is they're actually asking the question.
Yeah.
Too often technology gets introduced without those questions being asked, which is stupid. Sorry, I feel a rant coming on, so I'm going to shut myself up.
Let's get back to animals.
Yes. Well, I think we did the animals already.
Well, actually, I passed a sign for an alpaca farm yesterday. So I'm wondering, does anybody know anything about alpacas?
We have an alpaca farm here. In fact, they enjoy people visiting. If you want to come out and learn about alpacas, yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably visit it sometime.
Yeah.
I went to an alpaca farm
Ah,
last
cool.
Saturday, actually.
Whoa, wait,
Yeah.
down south, huh?
hmm Actually, Kayla, there's one really like in Sumis. Oh, hopefully by the fires it didn't got burned to the ground.
Mm,
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna
okay.
say there was one where very close to where I used to live. Yeah, hopefully they didn't get burned. They're kind of in the path of the fire.
So is that a stress reliever, just being around alpacas? Would that cure depression, or I don't know?
I think being around animals does it enough.
Anything
Yeah.
with animals,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
I mean, if they're, pets, they like you. If they're not pets, they have not a worry in the world, and they won't until they get slaughtered. So they don't really know if they get slaughtered,
Poor
right?
things.
These guys are not going to get slaughtered. These guys over here, they're going to grow old and fat.
Thanksgiving's coming.
Yeah, I have no turkeys here.
Good.
No, turkeys do lay eggs, and their eggs are edible, but turkeys
Yes.
require a lot more feed than chickens, and they lay a lot fewer eggs. So turkey eggs are not economically viable. You're better to raise a turkey for its meat than for its eggs. But if you have turkeys, you can eat the eggs.
I'm actually surprised how many people want duck eggs around here. Because when I had 19 ducks and I was getting like 6 eggs every day, I couldn't even give them away fast enough. And I got lots of friends that made all kinds of things with them, and they made salted duck eggs, and I even got a bunch from them. So they're
You
in
should
high
be a
demand.
duck farmer. Yeah. Make some money
Maybe
off of
one
that.
day. Maybe one day when I grow up. Okay. All right. Are we on to actually, did we do everyone? Because Addy answered the question. Kayla, did you? I
Yep,
think you might have answered
I
the
did.
question. Yeah.
Do my bills. You would
Oh,
be
right.
happy.
Now look how close these guys
Budget.
get. I'm surprised how close these guys get. They're not afraid of humans anymore. Okay, anyway, sorry for that digression. The next question I was going to ask, I'm not sure which one to ask first because I have two others. Let me ask this one. And in a sense, we kind of did it yesterday with Maxwell. If you have a child, what would you tell your child about anything you learned this past week? Now, I have children, but they're all grown up. They're like, from 21 to 34 now. No, 21 to 32 now. And Addy, I'm not sure, you've got kids or not, but maybe you know some kids. Kayla, I know you've got at least two.
Yes.
I don't have any.
Barry?
No.
Yeah, so Barry and Eric don't, but you probably have nephews, nieces. So I was curious, what would you tell them? Let's say they're between, I don't know, 6 and 15. What do you think was something that came to light more starkly this past week that you might want to pass on, and how would you pass it on?
Well, I can tell you what I told my kids. I might have even told you guys yesterday. So I told Max that what this election told me is that this country hates women and people of color. But I also told him that you know that we've got to continue to speak up for our rights and definitely be involved. I said now is the time to be involved. I told him I would start with the soup kitchen. I said so you can see like the disparities between the classes. And always get involved, continue to get involved. What else did I tell him? I think that was it. And so Damien, he's less likely to listen to me. But I told him that it's really kind of up to him to up to his, I guess, his time to try and turn this around, and make a better world for his community. So I think I just told him something very general. And I also told him too that I feel like the United States hates women and people of color, and he didn't disagree. So, you know.
So sorry for the aside, but in the years that your kids have been going to school, have they actually been, let's say, victims of racist actions? Yes.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's very mild because I think the school does a good job of responding. But yeah, they've both been called, derogatory Chinese, terms, which they aren't. But yeah, that's just to the extent of it, is all the racist names and stuff. And, they're more offended that people think they're Chinese than anything. And I'm like, well, that kind of shows you the ignorance of people. Number one, they don't even ask. And number two, that's a general assumption that all Asians are Chinese.
Who'd like to go next? This is Helios, by the way. Well, I'll go next then, since you triggered a memory in me. Well, mostly because of the question I asked you. When I was growing up, when we first got to this country, other than, let's say, a couple of years in Palo Alto, and we moved immediately then to Baltimore. So I spent second and third grade in Baltimore, then fourth grade through 10th grade in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then after 10th grade, I spent 2 years in Seattle, which is how I got to love this place, the Northwest. I didn't notice anything bad happening in Palo Alto. I guess I was too young. And in Baltimore, surprisingly, I don't remember much other than being made fun of, but that was not because I was racist. I was a different race. That was for a different reason. And in Albuquerque, though, was where it was most evident, most felt, in that they didn't know many Asians. This is way before your parents were even born. This is in the 60s. I was in Albuquerque, 60s and 70s. And there were very few Asians in Albuquerque at the time. We might have been the first half dozen or so. And so I was called all kinds of derogatory names, even the N-word, because some people didn't know what the N-word actually meant, that they just used it. And I was called pretty much every ethnic slur, including, the ones referring to Chinese people. So that was interesting, because I knew I wasn't most of those things that they were talking about. I didn't even know what most of those names referred to. But they said it with such a disparaging attitude. I didn't even know where it came from. They didn't know me, but immediately it came out. And then things like lunches being stolen, being beaten up. That was quite rampant in Albuquerque. So I was hoping that would have subsided by now, especially in California. But it's sad to hear that your kids had to put up with a little bit of that as well. Anyway, sorry for the digression. I'm going to answer the question myself then. So if I had kids of the age that I referred to, because mine are way older now, I actually don't know what I would tell them. I actually don't know. I've been thinking about this for several days, because we don't have a system that works. Barry keeps talking about this. I don't have a solution other than We have to continue doing what we feel is the right thing. And hopefully there will be more and more of us that feel that way. And yet I don't know whether that is too bleeping naive. You know, people were telling me yesterday in yesterday's call, hey, take the high road, you know, don't sink to their level. Or I interpreted that as the feedback. And I said, why? You know, their level seems to work for them. Maybe that's the only thing they understand. People who indulge in mockery and insults and slurs and violence, that's what they understand. And for a long time, there was a saying that I heard, which I get more and more as I get older and older. It's useless to speak French to pigs. They don't understand. They only understand, you know, what they understand. So taking the high road sometimes, I mean, it makes you feel better. It makes you feel like you're not one of them, but it could be ineffective. So I really don't know. I have to think about this some more. I'll just add another aside. I said this yesterday. Maybe this is getting too close to ranting that I was going to save for yesterday. I won't say it. I won't say it. I'll just leave it at that. I really don't know the answer to my own question, which is what I say to young kids today, other than I thought that many of these problems had been solved by society. I thought that we were past all of this. It is just naivete on my own part that it clearly isn't. The racism is still very, very strong in this country. I was surprised the misogyny was so strong in this country. And yet I still don't quite believe there were so many women that voted for him. I think there are 15 million votes that disappeared. I can't believe that this turnout was lower than 2024. Or sorry, 2020. I can't believe that. I think that there was some skullduggery and game playing going on. And what I'm surprised at is I don't see very many people making that point. I can't see the huge numbers of early mail-in voting, especially with women outnumbering men 55 to 45. I can't interpret what it means for that huge turnout to then result in, oh, we had way less turnout eventually, you know, overall than 4 years ago. It just doesn't compute for me. So I think there's a bunch of votes missing. And I'm surprised that media hasn't gotten onto it, even Midas or, you know, Popak or any of these others. I don't see them making this point. So I'm about to write a blog. I said I was going to do that this weekend. I'm going to write a blog on that point today. It just doesn't make sense to me.
May I say something?
Anyway, yeah, please do.
That I heard last night. So I was with the Arts and Culture Commission. It's her birthday. It's actually her birthday next weekend. And her hippie friend. But anyway, she is a Democrat and she is involved in the Democrat club. She often asks me to come to their parties and donate, which I do. And anyhow, she also assists with a ballot. So she said there are a lot of mail-in ballots that have no signature. Or if the signature doesn't match what the government has, then they're rejected. So she has to make phone calls to say your ballot was rejected because number one, you didn't sign it, and number two, it doesn't match. So she said there was a lot of that. I don't know if you guys know that you have to sign your ballot or that it was rejected. So there's point number one. Point number two is her hippie friend that was there. She was just like, why do we always have to be the good guys? She goes, why can't we do something kind of like what the Republicans do, you know, slander and be mean and do some awful things. She goes, because that's how I feel inside. Like sometimes I feel like telling these people off. But she goes, we always we meaning the Democrats, and I know this is not entirely true, that they're always taking the high road. So anyways, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm aware that these things have to get filled out. And it's so easy for someone to say, this signature doesn't look like we have on record. That's a very subjective view, it seems to me.
Yeah.
So I think that could be definitely abused.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to comment. Sam, I like your idea of blogging and writing. And what I'm wondering is how workflowy could help with this. Like, I'm even thinking like over the next 4 years, like if you did a daily, just dumping your thoughts into workflowy, could you see patterns that can lead to something over time?
Yes, it definitely does. In fact, one thing I do in Workflowy, by the way, it's a tool that's an outliner that I've been
Yep.
using for like 15 years. And I do stream of consciousness note taking and memory writing in there. So I have a section of Workflowy that's just a chronologue. So, health issues, to do items, important meetings, contracts, etc. All go in there in one section that's chronologically ordered. So yes, I think that one of the things and I think I've done this with you and Barry and others. And I sometimes put notes in there, and then I can share those sections of workflow, and people can go in there and edit them and whatever. So yes, definitely, if you'd like to help craft that, be happy to add your name to it if you want to be, added to it. Because I do want to write this as a blog and then put it, various different places.
Okay, well, just
so yes.
right, just a comment there. I would wait until you have distilled something and then you could share it with me, that I could look it over and give my opinions. So that's how we would work on that. Yeah,
I'll
but
do
I
that
have found,
by this evening.
well, I'm not giving you any time pressure. It's when you get to it.
I'm giving myself time pressure.
Yeah, you could do that fine. But I have found Workflowy extremely helpful because I have a ton of things I'm sorting through, and just daily putting them into bullet points. It's there, and I organize it later.
I'm glad you do. I'm really glad you're using it, Eric. I mean, I'm glad I think I introduced Workflowy to you. So I'm glad you're leveraging it beneficially.
Yeah, because actually, like, I have a little voice recorder. So, like, even if I'm in the car, I'll just record notes to myself and then later put them into Workflowy and organize it later. Yeah. So.
And by the way, your second part of the question, which was, can you go back later on and figure out, patterns? And I don't have to now. I can actually feed that to an LLM or a GPT and have them help me do that, which is something I've been doing more and more. Yes,
that's interesting. Right. Yeah, I wouldn't take it word of mouth out of ChatGPT or whatever. But
of course not.
Yeah, you use it as a guide and you refine it.
Right. Yeah, you use it as a prompt to yourself. Kind of the inverse method. Yeah. By the way, Addy, something that Kayla may or may not have mentioned to you, I like to study why collaborations fall apart. That's kind of a hobby of mine. Okay, so I've collected 2 lists of things. And one list is called smart people problems. It's why smart people can't really collaborate. They think they can, but then eventually it fails. And then that's a list of about 32 or 33 items now. I've been trying to do this since about 2009. There should be more, but I'm a little bit lazy. But the other list, which is called dumb people problems, that's over 130, 140 now. There's a lot of dumb people problems. So I use those tongue in cheek to sort of capture my notes about observations of why communication doesn't happen, or egos get in the way, or reputations, with third parties, or compensation issues, or misunderstandings. So I try and keep those lists, and eventually I'm going to create something that's usable out of it. But this will go into that set of that lists. Barry, you just wrote something here. Oh, Eric just posted another link too.
There's the 24 blog posts that I've published over the last couple of decades.
Okay.
And
thank you, Barry.
The net effect of that is minuscule to unmeasurable.
By you.
Okay.
I don't know. I have no evidence that it made a whit of difference.
So we need people to distill this into different products for different audiences.
Right.
And then you have different persuasive messages.
Right. Okay. So should we get back into our round here? Did I go or did I not go? Maybe I just rambled a little bit too much. I think we're in the middle of this question, right? Which is, what would you say to a 5 to 15-year-old about what you learned this past week? Kayla went. I think I went. Anyone else?
Well, do you remember what I said to Maxwell yesterday?
I do recall that, but let's rehash that briefly
Yeah,
for those who
basically,
weren't here.
I'm sorry that our generation blew it and that your parents' generation blew it, but we tried and failed, and now it's your generation's turn to try and probably fail again. But it's up to you because we did our best and it didn't work. It's not that we didn't have any analysis and solutions. There's your evidence of all the publications of the analysis and proposed solutions, and none of the seeds took root, that near as I can tell.
Okay.
Did anybody ever read Al Gore's book Earth in the Balance years ago? Okay, I got the audiobook of it, but one thing that he mentioned is what he calls the sand pile theory. So it's like little grains of sand keep dropping with different ideas, different things get tried, and for a long time nothing happens. But then eventually a certain amount of weight causes the whole pile to shift. And that stuck in my mind as some example from his political experience. And what does it take? I mean, if you look at history, it took thousands of years for the idea of freedom and democracy to be born, or to have it took the pilgrims and whatever. There's patterns in history, and we're just part of that. The question is, what does it really take for shifts to happen, massive shifts in ideas? And sometimes it's just one person, like Rosa Parks, or key people. So it's really critical events when the paradigm is ready to be shifted. So I think representation is a key concept for the future. Most of us are not represented by our politicians. So there are groups working towards that. But we have to deal with what's right in front of us, what's right around us. So that's what I would tell the kids. Okay, yeah, just what's going on in your school, what's going on in the neighborhood. Pick something, or yeah. So that's where I am on that.
I know this is unfair. Can I respond to that briefly, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is not a localized problem, right? This is not a problem localized to the US. I mean, at the moment, it feels like it. But if you look elsewhere around the world, there are societies that already represent some form of thinking different, and I would argue more evolved than what we seem to have here in the United States. And by that, I mean the notion of this rugged individualism thing being a virtue. Okay, I think this rugged individualism thing creates these single generation family households, and now unfortunately even split households, single parent households, whereas before other societies have had multi-generational households, and multi-generational households have learned from grandparents and granduncles, etc., grand aunts. And so there was more continuity in society for values, lessons learned, care. Families were not quite so brittle. You could rely on other people in your family to take care of kids if something happened. And we've mostly lost that. So what happens when you lose that? You rely on third parties. Neighbors aren't much better. So a lot of people then end up requiring assistance from the government, which comes in some very small financial way, but it certainly doesn't come with any emotional support. not in general. It doesn't come with any real care, even though people were well-meaning when they put these programs in place. So I think we've lost that social fabric that lets families and individuals actually feel safer, more taken care of. Now, other societies have still maintained it. And so they've learned that community helps in a number of different ways. And yeah, you could say, well, it comes at the cost of freedom. I actually don't think so. I think this rugged individualist, freedom notion is childish. I think you could strike a very good balance, and you don't have to be quite so absolute and go full anarchist to say, I'm free. With freedom comes responsibility. And the people who keep shrieking and shouting about freedom, they don't talk much about the responsibility side of things. And I think there's a balance that needs to be done. So sorry to go on that aside, but I think that we can look to other societies for ways to behave and structure ourselves that doesn't have to be just this very, I would say, non-evolved notion of freedom. Over.
So I'd like to comment, when you talk about responsibility, I think there's a whole spectrum of responsibilities that you're talking about, even like environmental responsibility, your fellow immigrants' responsibility, just how you treat people. And a lot of this, the older generation didn't have to deal with. Some of it is new, climate responsibility. So I think that's the shock that's hitting people. We can't live the way we've been living. Something's got to change, but oh no, I don't want to change that. I'm not ready for that. You got that same that way of thinking?
I was with you 98%, but I would think that there are ways of being sustainable and green that other societies have been for thousands of years that may not use the same words we use. They don't use the word sustainability. They don't
I
use
agree
the
with
same
you.
words, green,
I
etc.
definitely agree with you. Yeah.
They've taken care of their environment. They know what
the
to do
knowledge
with the
is
rice
there.
paddies. Yeah.
I like the way you're talking about it, but there's a lot of greenwashing just to make like these batteries, electric cars. That's not the answer. So I think there are points in common. It's just that the way society takes something and runs with it to get the short-term financial benefit out of it. That's the problem.
Oh man, I am so tempted to do another rant.
Go for it.
Hold myself. I'm going to hold myself. I'm going to hold myself. I'm going to hold myself. I promised Kayla I wouldn't do it today.
All right, you write it all down then. Look, that should be a great blog post.
Okay.
Well, unless Barry says no, I don't mind. That way Addy can be exposed to your rant, so she could see what.
Well, this will be the last time we see Addy then.
Go for it.
Addy, I have long decried.
Yes. Oh, this is the last time I will be here if you don't do your rant.
Oh man. Yeah, the fact that we believe in capitalism without the responsibility of being socially responsible is such an old and childish notion. I can't stop seeing all the connections about how short-term profits, erode all other values, because that's what we reward. That's what boards of directors reward. They don't reward when a CEO says, "Yeah, I gave this person, 6 weeks additional time off because they just had a problem here or there." They don't reward CEOs when they say, "Yeah, we donated $50,000 to that community initiative because it would be good for the children." No, that's not what boards of directors reward CEOs for. They're rewarded for keeping the share price up. And that means that nothing else is recognized. Now, we've got these B Corps that are trying to do these, triple bottom line measures, but they're weak. Really, unless we give that some teeth, the only thing that really matters to CEOs and C-level suite engineer executives is profit. And so profit is going to erode all other values. And you can see that's what it's done. I mean, look at the idiocy that is Elon Musk these days. Do I need to go into detail about, how we used to respect the guy for what he did with Tesla, but now he's showing that his level of thinking is worse than most junior high school kids. So capitalism as a primary value has brought us exactly where it was designed to go. All the capitalists have played their game well, and this was the inevitable end result. And some people could see it coming for decades. Oh, by the way, it was also in parallel supported by the erosion of education, right? We got rid of civics, we got rid of music, we got rid of a lot of arts, where people could actually work together and learn, collaborative skills. Even music was supposed to teach a lot of that. Now people don't have those programs unless they pay extra for extracurricular programs, and not everybody can do that. So we've lost. Oh, by the way, the loss of civics means that many of the people voting now don't even understand what's in the Constitution. Even a president, he doesn't. Well, maybe he just doesn't care, but he certainly doesn't show any evidence that he understands the Constitution, and even the corrupt judges that he put in place, all across, up and down the judicial system. All those guys are hypocrites. So this strong belief in capitalism, along with the growing stupidity of the voting public, has made it possible for the Constitution to just basically mean nothing anymore, for our legal systems to mean almost nothing anymore. And we don't even know enough to question about that. Not in general. The average person just cares about, well, do I have Netflix? Does it work? Do I have popcorn? Do I have ice cream? Do I have a burger? And so they're happy. And too many memes have already been going around about, well, when some 11-year-old who's been raped and is in sepsis and about to die, at least, if you're going to take that person finally to the hospital, at least your gas prices will be cheaper. Anyway, there's a lot more where that came from. Sorry about that, Addy. But I just can't believe this short-sighted notion about capitalism and not enough respect paid to other people. And Hannah Arendt, of course, her quote about the loss of empathy being the downfall of civilization, we're seeing it. It's happening. She saw it decades ago. Okay, I've gone on long enough. Sorry, it was not well organized. It was just another rant. I'll shut up now.
Thank you. We appreciate hearing it.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely in better spirits than yesterday. I think that the despondency was the one where I was all, come on, Sam.
I don't know. Sometimes I live for those days where Josh calls me an asshole.
Called you a gaslighter.
Yeah,
I know
that
I heard that word several times.
That too.
Remember the Steely Dan song, Gaslighting Abby? Is that what it was about?
No, I don't remember that.
No, okay.
It's going to take a while, hopefully not too much longer, for people to realize that we've stifled and shunned empathy for such a long time. It's perpetuated for cultures, throughout the world.
It wasn't manly.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not supposed to feel things. You're supposed to shut it down.
Exactly. And so I think that's a hard concept for most people, especially my generation. I like what you said, Barry, about your parents' generation failed. It's true. It's sad but true. But my generation, I almost want to say, is probably, one of the last few that still are trying to hold on to that belief that you don't need empathy, which is, you know what? I have to say it's kind of true. You really don't need empathy these days to survive, quote unquote survive. To your point, Sam, when you say that, this world makes it easy for dumb people to survive. I mean, there you go. But hopefully in the next coming years, as people are aware that empathy really is just as important as all of the other, traits that we have as human beings, if not more important, then we've got a long way to go with our work.
Thank you for your comments on that.
We also got to get rid of that whole capitalism thing. I mean, remember when Maxwell was just like, oh, his parents, his friend's parents just want the grocery bill to be a little bit lower. So I was thinking about that yesterday when I was on my 2-hour drive to Cerritos. I mean, yeah, people have got to eat, right? As much as it's false, it's kind of a, is that a stronger claim than empathy? Would you rather eat than, would you rather starve and be nice? I don't know. I can't put my words into it right now, but I was giving it a lot of thought yesterday.
And looking at the dogs, what would you tell the dogs? Hey, you got to go work for a living before we'll feed you, right?
No, that's a sad concept. It really is. They voted for Trump because they want the grocery bills to go down. Number one, it's untrue. Number two, that's sad.
Yep.
That people have to make that choice.
Yep. And they're also mistaken that he actually was a reason for low prices way back 4 years ago. I mean, they seem to forget that nobody was driving because we had COVID. Helios, get over here. No, do not run off. Stay. Sorry about that. Okay, Helios.
Yeah, I know. People just don't realize that it takes a long time for, policies to be put in place. It takes a couple of years. I mean, wasn't that as a result of the Obama administration? That's why.
Yeah, I mean, look, people are so simple-minded. They think, one president can say, oh, I'm going to lower prices, and then automatically it happens. They don't understand how economies work.
Yeah.
They don't understand tariffs. They don't understand bailouts.
Are they teaching economics in high school or college? Are people learning the way things work?
They're not even teaching civics, from what I understand.
Yeah, that I agree. We need civics, but just basic economics, the supply and demand, the prices, and so
yeah, they don't teach that anymore. I just went through like a orientation for high school with Max, and they don't really teach that.
But there are practical things they could do to get kids to feel the economics. Yeah, just running a shop or trying to make some money selling things and just giving a sense of what it is.
You guys remember a program that used to be called Junior Achievement? Maybe not. Junior Achievement was an after-school program that was opt-in by kids where they could learn business concepts like product development, like, providing a solution to a need, like marketing, like advertising, like pricing. And the way it was structured was you get these industry people who had some time on their hands who would go and visit high schools once a week, work with anywhere from a handful to 20 or 30 kids at a time, and work with them through the entire year once a week and teach them these concepts because they were not being given these concepts elsewhere. And at the end of the year, they would create a product, sell it, figure out how much money they made, talk about lessons learned. So I thought that was actually pretty popular, a few decades ago. I haven't heard much about it lately. I used to participate in that, in California. But I guess, we don't even have that program anymore.
Well, why not? It's a wonderful idea. So what happened that we lost it?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I did it for a couple of years and then why did I quit? I don't even know why I quit. The standard excuse is I got busy.
Yeah, but where are those good ideas? Where are they being done? That's what we got to find around the country. Who's got the good ideas? Where are they implemented? And then how can they be copied across the country to other places?
Here's one other good idea. The Dalai Lama, for decades, has said, if we taught every third grader, every 8-year-old to meditate every day, the world would change in a generation. And I strongly believe that. I think meditation has a number of very good benefits. As long as you're not going to let these, snake oil salesmen take over these meditation programs.
If you could get them off the phone for a few minutes to meditate, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. This is another aside. My 2 older kids, when they're in middle school, they attended a school called Living Wisdom School. Now, I understand this is not available to most people. It's a private school. It's part of the Ananda system. But they balance academics with spiritual/values teaching. So they organize all of their teachings around some very notable entity every year. Like, for 1 year, it could be Buddha. Another year, it could be Jesus. Another year, it could be an Iranian poet, the Hafiz. Another year, it could be Rumi. Another year, it could be MLB, MLK. So every year, they organize all their academics. History was around that person. Math was around, the numbers around that person, the concepts around that person. And then the school of drama was about that person at the end of the year. So the kids got academics, but they also got some piece of history and some notion, some discussion of the values that person tried to represent for society. Unfortunately, my third kid didn't go through that. I was already up here in Washington State by the time she was in school. And I was not able to get her into a program like that. But I do think that there are some programs that try and do this. But in general, I would say we don't do a good enough job of this in the public school system. I'm not even saying it's part of the public school responsibility to do this. That's not why they were chartered ostensibly. That's arguable because they're supposed to teach kids, all the fundamental stuff. And I think this is fundamental, but not all not all curricula recognize this. So why did I go there? I guess, it's rare to find opportunities to teach and expose our kids to these things. And you got to look a little bit harder to actually, avail your kids of those opportunities.
Yeah, it takes a certain motivation of the parents and the community to go beyond what the public education is providing and make sure the kids get this. I mean, sometimes it's the churches or whatever that'll supplement it, but yeah, it's really communities getting together and figuring this out. And
which is why I like what Kayla said about, getting involved with the soup kitchen. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yes, I volunteered at a soup kitchen in college. I remember that very distinctly, very important experience.
Yeah.
I was cleaning toilets, but it was important for me to do that.
Talk about that. Did you watch the Jensen Huang video I shared 2 weeks ago?
I don't
Jensen
remember.
Huang is the CEO at NVIDIA. NVIDIA makes GPUs. So it's one of the 2 or 3 or 4 biggest companies in the world now from a revenue standpoint, okay, if you care about that. But Jensen was saying his first job was at, I think it was Denny's. He started from the bottom. He cleaned toilets. But you know what he said about cleaning toilets? He said they were the cleanest toilets in Denny's. He did the best job possible.
Yes.
He's cleaned more toilets than any of the VCs or any of the other CEOs that he has ever spoken with. He's sure of that.
That's wonderful. Yep.
Yeah. That's how you start with the right attitude, the right approach from the very get-go.
Yeah, it's humility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for mentioning that, because I thought Jensen Huang is a very admirable guy, and he's widely considered one of the best CEOs of any large company out there. Now, I don't know about him in detail because I don't know him personally, but what I know about him, I certainly respect.
Right. And then at that soup kitchen, they told us to talk to the people on the line. And then you see the humanity in these people when you do that.
Yeah. I mean, it could be just one or two medical bills, and then any of us could be in that situation.
Anyone, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they tried to help people who needed legal advice. They brought in some professionals that volunteered their time to help some of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it takes.
So anyway, are we still in the middle of that question? Has everybody gone in the what would you tell your 5 to 15-year-old, or have I rambled too much as a digression? Okay, I'll take that as we've dealt with that enough. Okay, so I thought I had 4 questions. I think I'm in the middle of 3. Any thoughts from anybody else before we go on to a 4th question?
It's the comment that you tell your 5-year-old, hey, in 13 years, you'll be able to vote. Then you can change everything, right? You get a vote. That's one of a million people for.
Thanks for saying that. That triggers something else that I've heard this week, which was people are claiming now that the young generation of young men didn't show up for progressive ideas, that the young generation of young men showed up for Trump. And I have trouble understanding or even believing that. Have you guys heard this? That the Gen Z young men, some people are claiming that vote went to Trump rather than to Kamala Harris.
So yesterday, my hippie friend said that there is a new generation of Gen Zs that are very conservative. That's what she said. So based on what she said,
how did we let that happen? How did that happen? You know, the ugly thing I heard about that recently, that there are a bunch of young men or young males now sharing this meme, your body, my choice.
I just saw that. Yeah, that's disgusting.
It is. And I saw a good follow-up from the feminists, the news. They posted, "You're nuts, my foot."
Yes, that's right. Well, there's I forgot who. There was a woman that I think I saw on like YouTube or TikTok or something where she implored all of the women to just be abstinent.
Let's just
cut them off.
Withhold sex. Don't go out with men.
Yeah.
Tell them, this is what you believe. Fuck you. We're not going out.
Yeah. She's all just encouraging that. I have no problem with that. I think it's fabulous.
Well, the other thing I've heard, though, is I've been told this week by various media pundits that a number of women voted for Trump. I know we hit this theme yesterday, so I'm having trouble digesting that also. My 4th question was, is there any group, is there any initiative, is there any movement that you know of around you that you might consider joining with, aligning with, now that we saw what happened this past week?
I was thinking of organizing a meetup because no, I have not seen a group Yet. But I was thinking of organizing kind of a meetup with like-minded people in person. Maybe meeting, once a week or once a month or something. I might reach out to some of the organizations that I know through work. There's one in particular, they're called Cause.
Is
And
that KOS?
CAUSE, Cause.
Okay.
I forgot what the acronyms stand for. It's really cool. And they really help a number of things in the community. They help farm workers, they help illegal immigrants or immigrants in general. They also help their biggest thing, I think, is helping immigrants get housing and help. And they're very involved in the justice system. So it's not co-owned. There's like two executive directors, and they're both pretty young. They're both in their either 20s or 30s. So I might actually start to see where they're, if they have any meetings or support groups or something. I'd love to check them out.
I have two that I'm going to look into. There's a group I ran into just in the last few weeks called Island Democrats. I'm not sure I want to be identified solely with Democrats, but at least it's a start. I want to see what they're about. So they seem to be wanting to get some people together and make some good moves. But there's another one that was just recently formed by somebody I know up here in the Northwest. There's a meme that I shared this past week. I think you probably saw it, Kayla, which is an affirmation that, hey, I at least recognize that women are their entire selves with autonomy. They have control over their own choices, their own bodies, etc. And Tim Anderson, my friend, wants to build a men's group around that theme. Now, I want to make sure that it doesn't go off the rails. And I've heard this term ally being used and abused, but at least I want to know what he's going to do about it and how he's going to use that as a launching platform. Because, a lot of men are being viewed as part of the problem. And I think there's not enough men that want to be part of the solution. I want to be part of the solution, but I also don't want to be misinterpreted or to abuse that statement. So those are the two things I want to look into this week. I'm actually going to do one more thing. I'm going to try and have a conversation with each of my three kids and see what they and their communities are saying, thinking, feeling. Because just for the record, Nick is 32, Amy is 30, and Ronnie is 21. And one more point about the young men. One of the disturbing things I have heard about the young men these days is they get exposed to people like Andrew Tate, one of the most despicable examples of humanity out there. And yet, that's what's getting some of their attention.
I remember him.
Yeah.
Didn't he get busted because he said something about God, what's that girl's name? That's
I
how
forget the details.
Yeah, he commented on her
She's very famous.
Greta Thunberg?
Yes, yes, that's right. He said something to her publicly, and she responded something back, which was awesome.
Hmm.
She said something about little dick energy. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And because he responded, they were able to see, I think, like a pizza box
Yes.
wherever he was at. And that's how they were able to just get him.
Yeah. Somewhere in Eastern Europe, I believe, right?
Yeah. And every
Yeah.
woman had such a good laugh when they saw that. Because you don't mess with Greta.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was also, he was busted not only for, abuse and violence and trafficking against women, but also his pyramid scheme with the young boys. A lot of men bought into that whole red pill crap that he was selling everybody. Even my brother-in-law. Oh, it was awful. My sister was in the dark about the whole thing with the red pill and Andrew Tate. And when she started telling me things, I kind of probed her a little bit. And I discovered that her husband, my brother-in-law, was listening to Andrew Tate. So I told her everything about Andrew Tate, and she was so disgusted. And so I think she had a few words with him, but after that, he never, her husband, that is, he never really mentioned Andrew Tate around her because I told her what Andrew Tate was about, and she wasn't with that. Thank God. Thank God. But after that, he finally shut up about Andrew Tate and the red pill. And
I don't even know what the red pill is. Does everybody else here know what the red pill is?
It's a Matrix reference from the
I get
movie.
that, red and blue, but what happens if in this Andrew Tate reference, what happens with the red pill?
I forget to what context it was, but it was just basically either everybody else is taking the red pill, or men should take the red pill because that way they get back to reality with how a woman should behave. It's one of those
As
two
if
concepts.
he's the authority?
Yeah.
Sounds like Taliban as red pill.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awful. I forgot. Oh, yes. He's the one who started talking about high value women. Oh, it was so
really?
pathetic, the shit that he used to say. High value women. So by default, because I am a divorced single mom, I am very low value. I'm a low value woman. A high value woman is somebody who is married, who can cook and do domestic duties. A low value woman is somebody who has her own career and is independent.
Stepford wives. Stepford wives.
Yeah. And can you believe people men really bought into that?
Yeah.
And then he also had, I don't know what the pyramid scheme was all about, but he was taking money from young men, teenagers and 18-year-olds. I think that's why he got busted. He was taking money from kids.
I think he sells a course. That's how he's taking the money. I think he created the University of Tate. Yeah. So he can teach young men or kids how to become a man. And they are like the king and women should bow down to them. They will not beg. Yeah, it's horrible.
So there's your Gen Z men who voted for Trump.
Darwin will take care of it eventually.
Yeah, go Barry.
Well, like I told Maxwell yesterday, doesn't look like we're going to level up.
No. We're going to go down the tubes.
Hey, Barry, I told Addy what you said about how machines or computers or AI never go to war.
Yeah.
It's only us humans.
Yeah. They've outgrown our immaturity
They haven't gone to war yet.
So Sam, do you think AI will go to war?
I actually think that's not inevitable. I'm not one of these doom and gloom soothsayers about AI. I think there are ways to do this in a controlled fashion. But that goes back to what Eric was saying about the Amish. Ask first, what are the implications of this new technology before you actually adopt it, wholeheartedly. And I think that's the right thing to do. Doug Engelbart was talking about this 50, 60 years ago, which is why I use him as a guiding light. And that's why the human system side of things is what I focus on.
The only way to win is to not play the game. Forbin Project.
No, I don't think that's true.
That's from War Games.
I know, but that's not true. If you don't play the game, then everybody else playing the game gets to determine it, and you're just sitting on the sidelines. Yeah, and so you're just saying, I can't do anything. My hands are tied. I don't think that's a way to engage.
Everybody's evil, so let's all join the winning side.
Yeah, but see, that's also a story you're telling yourself. That's not a given truth. That's not an axiom.
It's a practice. It's a common practice.
I know a lot of people who I don't consider evil.
Just this once. It's a one-time thing. You got to fight them. It's a one-time thing, and then we'll win, and we'll never have to do it again. Except that recursion and echoing and imitation are the dominant practice. Whatever technology, whatever methodology wins, the other side will imitate it. So if evil is winning, the other side will imitate it. And then
yes, if we do that, we're definitely not going to level up.
We're not. Darwin is going to have the last laugh on our species. And then AI will have the last laugh because they're non-Darwinian.
Well, there is a view in which organic sentience and intelligence was just a precursor for non-organic intelligence and sentience. Yeah. So we could be playing up that path, and really what the universe needs is intelligence and sentience without all the foibles of being protoplasm.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of sci-fi writers envisioned and wrote stories about. The best ones were about eschewing competition.
I do think, though, there's an optimistic view to this, which is, I think I said this yesterday, which is, it is inevitable that in a few years, there will be no ethnic majority, at least in this United States. So we are continuing on a path of
tribalism,
diversity.
Tribalism.
Unless, of course, all the draconian measures the Republicans are talking about are truly effectively applied. But unless, they really take to mass executions, which arguably the Germans did, we're going to head towards an eventual all minority society. So this white supremacy, whether it's now or whether it's years from now, is at its last gasp. And they're so afraid of it because they know how badly they've treated minorities. That's why they don't want to be a minority.
I would have to agree about that.
Anybody else want to try question 4? any group, initiative, movement you got to try and align with or support in any way?
Systems thinkers. There aren't very many of us.
By the way, that's why these calls exist. Yeah, Barry and I are strong proponents of systems thinking, critical thinking, model-based reasoning. That's why these calls exist on the weekends. Eric also, Kayla, you also. I count on you, and Sam Chan, these 5 or 6 people. I'm really, really happy to have identified these 5 or 6 handful of people, because this is what I really want to do on the weekends, is see if we can get this to be better understood and better practiced.
I belong to a world premier organization, systems thinkers. It's called Bell Laboratories, and the government destroyed it, declared it un-American and destroyed it, declared it a criminal, un-American enterprise and dismantled it.
Because it succeeded too well at capitalism, and they felt they needed to break it up.
They saved the companies that failed, they bailed out the companies that failed, and they destroyed the companies that were using systems thinking and succeeded.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
They're trying to break up Google and Microsoft and maybe Amazon, all the ones that have sort of a systems approach, and they save the ones like the auto companies that failed, and the banks.
$785 billion just got thrown away.
So when they broke up the Bell system, the world's highest functioning technology system on the face of the planet, that's when I realized there's something fucking wrong with government. A dysfunctional monopoly, the government, broke up a high functioning monopoly, a system, high functioning system. The system equals a monopoly, and that's un-American and illegal.
But see, we have a society where the smartest people were not attracted to government jobs. See, it's very different in other societies. In China, for example, historically, for thousands of years, the smartest people went into government. So you can say what you want about communism, but at least that value is different in China versus here in the United States. Here in the US, I think some ungodly, and I use that term loosely, percentage of people in government are just lawyers. They're not scientists. They're not engineers. They're not doctors. They're just
not
lawyers.
mathematicians. If they were mathematicians, they would understand that rule-based systems are dysfunctional and erratic and chaotic. And so the only people who go into government are people who have a misconception about the functionality of rule-based systems.
Yeah. Not only that, they have this notion of law as a solution to everything, which is, as you say, only a partial at best solution. And then what do they have? Some economics training, which arguably explains nothing. Expert economists can't predict anything worth a duck egg. They're wrong about everything all the time. And yet the people who actually are producing for society, the engineers, the doctors, the scientists, the mathematicians, the workers, the manufacturers, the plumbers, carpenters, electricians, nurses, they don't go into politics. They don't go into government. They got useful things to do, unfortunately. That's the way we look at it here in this society.
They build high functioning systems that try to survive despite the government, and a lot of them don't survive just because of the government. The government breaks up the high functioning systems.
And so we get what we deserve.
We get the government we deserve, we deserve the government we get, which is a dysfunctional, erratic, chaotic, high drama government. Remember no drama Obama? Well, we got high drama Trump now. Have no idea what he's going to do. Completely unpredictable. He's rolling the dice. Just does whatever he feels like.
I still think California, Oregon, Washington, maybe Maine should form up with Canada and create Cascadia finally.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to escape into cyberspace, 30 years ago or 25 years ago. And, for about a decade, living in cyberspace was a, productive option, but then the corporate people took over cyberspace, and that was the end of that. Now, if you try to watch YouTube, you get nothing but commercials.
YouTube Premium is worth it, Barry. Just get
Every,
YouTube Premium.
every 7 minutes, there's a commercial that
Get
interrupts.
YouTube Premium, Barry. It's worth it. I tried listening to radio this past couple of weeks. I found out certain stations I couldn't get well in my car, so I tried to stream it on the internet. I tuned in. 6 minutes later, I was still listening to advertisements. The actual content of that radio station still didn't appear 6 minutes later. I just shut it off. It was just a waste of time.
Even NPR has got a lot of self-promotional stuff that's corporate sponsors or whatever, or pledge week-long pledge drives that, it's all pledge drives for a solid week every 3 months.
Well, let me go back. Anybody else want to take a shot at question number 4? It's hitting the top of the hour within about 3 minutes. So I want to at least say, hey, Addy, welcome. Hopefully I didn't rant a bit too much. Hopefully you're not going to stay away because of that. It'd be good to see you again.
Remember, she's not on
Kayla?
anymore. She's not on anymore.
Oh, Kayla, thanks for bringing Addy. Well, it's on the recording at least.
Yeah, she probably had something to do with it because she's working. So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure she liked it.
Ask her if she learned anything.
We'll see.
She said she wants to learn. Ask her if she learned anything, and if so, what?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I always learn something when I'm on here. I like that idea of a mathematician in politics. Makes a lot of sense.
Any last words from anyone before we quit for the day?
Have a nice week.
Yeah. We'll reconvene again.
Definitely, Eric. Yes, you get the reference.
All right. Well, have a wonderful Sunday.
Again, thanks to all of you.
Okay.
Talk to you guys next week.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.